Alright, let's not waste any time. Here are my top 10 favorite movies of 2012. First up, Cabin in the Woods. Such a good way to start off a best of list. It deconstructs the horror genre, there's some social commentary in it that you could choose to either appreciate or ignore entirely, and it does all this while being funny and gory, and it gets better with each viewing. And I'm hoping that having a movie in here co-written by Joss Whedon makes up for not putting the Avengers in my top 10 list. Lawless. This movie is totally underrated. Yes, it is a bit aimless at times, but you kind of want to hang around during this time period with these characters, at least for a little while. Shia LaBeouf, Jason Clarke, and Tom Hardy make for great leads, and this movie contains a scene with Jessica Chastain that I will not be forgetting anytime soon. The Grey. This was the first great movie of 2012. Who would have thought that Liam Neeson punching walls was going to be a serious movie going off of that trailer, and who would have thought that that serious movie would have turned out to be a great one? Not this guy, but sometimes it pays off to be wrong. The Dark Knight Rises. It's hard to deny that this movie has its issues, but it's just as hard to leave it off the list. The Dark Knight Rises successfully ends the trilogy in a mostly satisfying way. Top-notch performances, great action pieces, heavy emotion, and a really quotable villain is why this movie gets to be number 7 on my list. Perks of Being a Wallflower, probably my second best theater-going experience this year next to the Avengers. I had the entire theater to myself on Friday morning, and I got to witness this kid have the luckiest love life I've ever seen anyone have in a high school movie. Screw your problems, kid, you get to make out with Hermione. But all jokes aside, it's a very touching movie with 3 leads in Logan Lerman, Ezra Miller, and Emma Watson. Skyfall. I'll admit, I appreciated Skyfall more after a second viewing. Daniel Craig is smooth and brutal as Bond in this one, and actually had some fighting moves in here that actually made me go, holy crap, while watching it. Skyfall also benefits from great direction and cinematography and an ending that makes this a major part of the Bond canon. But of course I have to give credit to Javier Bardem for being such a great villain / Bond girl in this one. Flight. Not entirely the movie I thought it was going to be, but Flight had plenty of surprises for me. It managed to balance being fun and depressing at the same time as we watched Denzel Washington cope with the fallout from crash landing a plane while being intoxicated. This is a movie that was well directed, well acted, and makes for an enjoyable 2 hours. Zero Dark 30. It took 10 years for us to find Bin Laden, and this movie aims to give you an idea of why it took so long. These people don't have easy jobs, and this movie walks you through what these people had to go through to get the job done. And man, is the climax of this movie satisfying. Moonrise Kingdom. The main theme of this movie is still in my head. The love between these two 12-year-olds resulted in a bunch of crazy things happening in Wes Anderson's whimsical world. And this movie has without a doubt one of the craziest third acts I've seen all year. Looper. Cool, confident, stylish, creative. What more can you say about Looper? A movie that gets better as it goes along. After watching this again last night, I was just sitting there waiting, knowing what this movie was building up to, just picking up on things that I missed out, just anticipating the climax of this movie. People claim that it has its share of plot holes, but regardless, this is my favorite and probably the most rewatchable of all the movies on this list, and I highly recommend Looper.